This is Let's Talk Football here on the sportshacks.com, and I'm delighted as always to welcome Kevin Bannon to our chat on what has turned out to be a very monumental Monday night in the race for the Premier League in England. Kevin, good evening to you.
How are you, Cole? How are you?
What a night it turned out to be on Merseyside. Manchester City's first visit to the Hill Dickinson Stadium, a 3-3 draw. They will remember that first visit for some time to come, I suspect, Kevin.
Yeah, I mean it was looking just fairly routine, wasn't it? You know, they got a great goal in the first half. Doku, lovely finish from outside the box with the left foot, and done okay. You know, Everton, as we know, huff and puff, but it looks like City were in control, and then Mark Gahey just, I don't know what's going through his head. He obviously just doesn't see Tierno Barry over his shoulder, and obviously you had the whole thing with the offside. He's back onside because the play has moved into a different
The referee was absolutely correct.
Yeah, it's a last touch off Mark Gahey, who has been one of the reasons, alongside, you'd have to say, Antoine Semenyo, who's been part of this City sort of revitalization since January after coming in from Palace. Just doesn't see him, and it's an absolute gift. And then you think, oh my God, like we're on here. And then Big Jake O'Brien rises highest, really good header. Again, I think it's really soft defending from City. You just can't get done there. Donnarumma, if you're coming, you have to come for it.
But he had made such a really significant save before that, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, he's made the save, he's kept them in at 1-0, and then within 13 minutes, it's nearly all over.
Yeah, from Njai, wasn't it? Yeah, the save. And then it's Gahey again, who's way out of position for the third goal. He's pushed so far up the pitch, ball's out for a throw-in. O'Brien, can he claim a pre-assist on that one? Maybe, for the throw-in. And then Merlin Roll is absolutely blessed that Barry is just waiting for it, because it's an awful effort on goal. And suddenly it's 3-1, and you're thinking, right, this is over. Like it's completely finished. And then before the replay even comes back, you just see Haaland steaming through on goal. Lovely finish from him. And then Jeremy Doku again. It's an unbelievable strike. It's an amazing hit. To do it in that moment with that amount of pressure. Straight past Pickford with no chance. It's a magnificent goal. But I don't know if it's going to be enough. I really don't know. I'm starting to waver. I'm really starting to waver.
You would have to think tonight, going into the game 6 points behind Arsenal, who, of course, we'll talk about them in a second, but they beat Fulham convincingly in the first half on Saturday, never mind over 90 minutes.
Yeah.
So Arsenal, they're 6 points clear at the start of the night. They're 5 points clear at the end of the night.
Yeah.
Mikel Arteta, I heard there in the Sky commentary, it was David Moyes brought him to England. He's 6 great years at Everton. He will be very grateful to Everton tonight. You would have to think based on that, because Everton looked like the team that wanted to win the league in those 13 minutes.
Yeah, it was incredible. And it's amazing. It's amazing what that can do for a team. Like, a goal literally out of absolutely nothing that you're not really expecting, and suddenly it gives you a lift. And they were really good. And I think Everton have these sort of patches of consistencies where they can be a really good side, and they can get in your face, and they can be physical, and they have some lovely footballers. I've mentioned Njai before on this pod. I really rate him. I think he's top quality. So when he gets involved, particularly in an attacking sense, they can be really good. But there's also the flip side of, they've dropped points in the last 3 games. I mean, they've conceded past 90 minute goals in each of the last 3 games. I think Moyes has done a terrific job there, and yeah, Arteta. If Arteta hasn't sent the text already or the phone call, he better get on it soon.
What a substitution!
Yeah,
like, he comes on,
yeah,
scores 2 goals.
Yeah,
even he looked amused or bemused at the first one, and he just couldn't believe his luck, could he?
Yeah, and it's funny because you talk to Everton fans about this season, and one of the biggest things for them is the striker options with Barry and Beto, who they're just not really consistent enough. Beto has never really been too impressive. I know he's a big physical unit up there, but he doesn't really have the goal scoring prowess. And Barry, he's raw and he's young. You'd maybe have liked him to shown a few more flashes, and you never know if that can give him a bit of a boost today, because, like I said, they're two relatively simple finishes. You'd have to say, I mean, they're very simple finishes. let's not give him too much credit. But he stuck them away, and the old saying, isn't it? You just need sometimes one to go in off your backside, and it gives you the run of confidence. So who knows? He could be a big player for them. He's only 23. They only signed him this summer, so you never
And
know.
another young player, and we have to give him credit because he did get a goal tonight. But Jake O'Brien has been asked to play in a position that isn't his position. I mean, I think if you ask Jake O'Brien, he would prefer to be a big centre half, which is where he made his name. But he's made up for the injury to Seamus Coleman. He's stayed in the team all season. He's come up with a goal tonight at a crucial stage in the match, and he has to be very happy with his night's work.
He does, and you could almost say Jake O'Brien is sort of paying for the sins of Everton for not replacing Seamus Coleman over these past few years. Like you said, he's making do. It's his first league goal of the season, I believe, and he's been involved in a few where they've been ruled out by VAR. I think he scored maybe twice, and they've been ruled out by VAR, so he'll be delighted. And we know he can score. I think he was decent when he was at Lyon at getting on the ends of set pieces as well. From memory, he scored in the French Cup final against PSG for them. But he is definitely a threat, and I do wonder going into next season. Obviously, you've Keenan, Tarkowski in there. Brantwaite is obviously a good option when he's fit. But you'd have to think Everton will think it's O'Brien and Brantwaite going forward if they can manage it. But again, they'll have to do something they haven't been able to do for the past 5-6 years, which is bring in that Seamus Coleman replacement. But as we saw over the weekend, we obviously won't touch on it, but Nathan Collins, solid again for Brentford. Darragh O'Shea, that stat going around of every minute of the 46 championship games, no bookings. Incredible. Andrew Omobamidele in a Europa Conference League semi-final midweek. We're fairly blessed at the position, to be quite honest with you. And O'Brien is just another one.
I'm going to ask you about the run-in now, because Manchester City, they still have a game in hand.
Yes.
But they have a cup final, Arsenal have Champions League.
Yeah.
The game in hand, I'm looking at Arsenal's fixtures: West Ham away, Burnley at home, they finish at home, away to Crystal Palace. City have Brentford at home, Palace at home, Bournemouth away, Villa at home. What does Guardiola do now? How does he turn this around?
I think he just has to say to them, we know we can win this game. We know we can win this title. We have to win every single game from here on out. And if we don't, that's it. So it's on you, basically. He's given them all the tools. And to be fair to them, they were 3-1 down with 10 minutes to go, and they drew the game. The heads could have easily dropped when they went 3-1 down there, and they didn't, and they got back into it. So they have shown something. But City undoubtedly have the tougher run in here. Brentford at home, I am expecting them to win next week, because Brentford haven't been great on the road. Obviously, they got the win at the weekend, but I think haven't won in 6 before that. Palace at home, who may be now concentrating. I don't know if you saw Palace yesterday. They were poor. Look, and to be fair to them, they're trying to win a European trophy, so I kind of get that. Bournemouth away is a very, very difficult game. Very difficult game. Which, if I'm right,
form team, Bournemouth at the moment, they're
form
in form.
team in the league, and if I'm not mistaken, yes, it is. It's Iraola's last ever home game as well, in charge of Bournemouth, and then they've Villa on the last day of the season, who you never know may need to win to get Champions League football. Although, particularly if they go out of the Europa League this week.
But if they play like they did yesterday, they don't deserve to get Champions League football. I mean, the last 5 minutes, I couldn't believe what I was watching.
Really poor. But yeah, they definitely have the tougher running. Like, you read Arsenal's fixtures out. It's West Ham, Palace and Burnley. I mean, one of those is already down. We've spoken about Palace. And West Ham are slow. West Ham's probably their toughest fixture because it's away from home, and West Ham need to win the game. Simple as they just
badly.
need to win that game. But cards on the table now. I think Arsenal are going to do it. I think after tonight, Arsenal are going to do it. And I have been fairly on
Rigid.
City.
Rigid.
Rigid is probably the right word to use. But yeah, I think Arsenal. I think they have it now. Like it's 2 points, assuming they win the game in hand.
We're going to talk about relegation later in the week, and we'll see if you're still rigid on Spurs staying up and beating Everton on the last day, just to prove I do listen, Kevin, when you're talking. But in terms of Arsenal, okay, let's look forward to Tuesday night, Atletico Madrid, 1-1 going into the Emirates. I see your friend Alvarez has travelled with Atletico.
Yes. They basically played their B team and won against Valencia yesterday, which is no surprise really. I said it the other week. I think it's good for the tie if Alvarez is fit and ready to start, because he is that influential of a player for this Atletico team. One thing that surprised me that we didn't talk about in the first leg is he didn't turn to Alexander Sorloth, the big Scandinavian striker that scored the 2 goals away to Barca in the previous round. And I do wonder if he goes for him tomorrow night, because we talked about how sort of they were physically a bit run over by Arsenal in that first leg, particularly the first half. Sorloth brings a different dimension to them, and it maybe allows you to get Alvarez a bit freer. He's not leading the line, so to speak. He's a bit freer, and Sorloth can sort of occupy Gabriel and Saliba. I will say I do expect Arsenal to win the game and therefore win the tie. I just think at home, particularly the way they played on Saturday, I mean, they could bring Saka off at half time. Saka looked really good, which is important. He basically, like I said, he played the first half. I mean, it's a miracle, isn't it? All this commentary of like, oh, PSG and Bayern can just rest all their players because they have no competition. I mean, you took Saka, Gyökeres, and Rice off all before the hour mark. So it's
and you were 3-0 up at that stage.
Exactly. So I think that's big for them. I think the performance on Saturday, they were really, really good. The most impressive that I've seen them for a while. And you'd imagine, particularly as well, I do wonder if tonight plays into it.
They'll have watched it. There's no doubt they'll have watched that game.
And it has to give them confidence. Why wouldn't it? It's in their hands now. It is in their hands. I said last week, if they win any trophies, it'll only be one. And I'm still into that, but it might have just changed to the Premier League over the Champions League. But I do think they will beat Atletico. I just don't think Atletico have enough, particularly in the middle of the park. And I think Arsenal have that quality, particularly if Saka is on form.
Simeone was very good in his press conference today, and he was talking about the fact that they changed hotels because it was cheaper, and he was talking about the fact that they're a better team now than the last time they were in London. You have to think that maybe he needs to be a little bit more Argentinian in his outlook, and you've referenced it already with the big centre forward, the likelihood he's going to start. They need to roll their sleeves up and get down and dirty tomorrow night.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I think Simeone is going to relish the challenge in front of him. Like, there's no two ways about it. And we've seen this Atletico side cause Arsenal problems, particularly in that second half. They created a lot of chances. Ademola Lookman probably should have scored at least one. Griezmann hit the bar. Okay, the penalty was fortunate. I still think it was a penalty, but they got the goal. The worry for Atletico is, I think if Arsenal score first and they have to come out of their shell, they might get torn apart. So it may be your old school Atletico Simeone performance where you dig in, you get one on the counter, and then you just soak that pressure up. You frustrate Arsenal, which I think you might be able to get under their skin a bit here as well, Arsenal. Particularly at home. We've talked about the Emirates crowd who, I mean, they booed Arsenal off the pitch last week, the other week, when they lost against Bournemouth, wasn't it? Like, they booed them. So I do wonder if, I'd imagine it is the game plan, keep it tight. Let's hopefully Griezmann and Alvarez can deliver on the counter. But I just don't think, I think this Arsenal side are too good. And I think Atletico aren't that 2014 Atletico anymore.
Yeah. He scored twice on Saturday, as you said. He got taken off not long after that. But
Mm.
Gyökeres, there's a lot of speculation, a lot of reports at the weekend. He's proved people wrong.
I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't say he's proved people wrong. Look, he's up to 21 goals for the season, which is massive. 14 of them in the Premier League as well. I still don't think he's shown enough to be like, right, this is the answer. He is our guy. He's the main fella.
Mm.
He definitely has some qualities that, of course, we're aware of, that he's shown this season and that he's shown at Sporting. The problem with him, I don't think his hold-up play is good enough. Every time I watch Arsenal, you feel like the ball goes up to him and bounces off him, and there's a turnover of possession. When a chance falls to him in the box, he's quite good. He took his goals well, right place, right time. The header I thought was a good header back across where it came from. The reason he was so good in Portugal is the wide open spaces that he could run into, and his ball striking is really good as well. But I think if you're Mikel Arteta and you have everyone available, I still think you're starting Kai Havertz over, which answers the question. Really, if they're in the Champions League final and everyone is fit, he starts Kai Havertz.
Yeah.
And that's really all you need to see what Arsenal think of. Well, maybe not Arsenal, but Arteta.
Yeah. So I think we're calling Arsenal tomorrow night.
Yes.
And
yes.
My final question to you on what has been a manic Monday, as they say, who will they play in the final?
Bayern.
5-4. 5-4 down, going into the second leg in Munich.
Bayern.
They'll turn it around.
They will. Harry Kane penalty. And Michael Elise. 2-0.
In regulation?
Oh, no. Yes. Yeah, why not? Why not?
So there you heard rigid Kevin says, I'm going to go for Bayern Munich against Arsenal in the Champions League final in Budapest. I was looking it up today, Kevin. Thierry Henry has scored the most Arsenal goals in the Champions League. Thierry Henry has got the most appearances in the Champions League. But like every other Arsenal player tomorrow night, he's never won the Champions League for Arsenal.
Yes, exactly. Look, it'll be massive. And I don't think they will win the Champions League, because I think whoever it is, I know I've gone with Bayern, but if it is PSG, I just think those two sides are a level above everyone else. But look, if you're in the final, you have a chance. So
if you don't buy the lottery ticket, you can't win the lottery. Kevin Bannon, as always, thank you.
Cheers, Carl.